Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot.
Toledo's got
Oh,
a team, by the way.
you said
Really?
Toledo.
Toledo's they got some shooters. They have a lot of shooters. They're good.
I'm never watching them basketball.
Who Toledo?
Yeah, only in football.
Yeah, Toledo. Deontay Johnson went Toledo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they were my first offer, Toledo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a solid school. Yeah. Where else do you get offered? Army and
Bucknell,
Bucknell.
Columbia, Penn, Brown, Virginia Tech, Charlotte, Delaware, Pitt, and then I think there's like two others. It's a couple others.
Dang, yeah. You had a ton, dude. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, before we start, so did you get to watch some of our podcasts just beforehand and stuff?
Yeah. I watched some one with AJ.
Oh, sick, yeah.
One way out. Cool.
Did he meet AJ yet?
Yeah. I actually I think it was like the day after you text me. I was asking him about it. He said it was really good. It's fun.
It's funny. I work with his girlfriend for my other part-time job
Yeah.
at Oldie. Yeah, that's pretty. That's how I got the interview with him, and then it was weird. Like I texted the Trib. I'm like, hey, I'm having AJ on my podcast. And I ended up writing an article on him too, so it was pretty cool.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's great.
he's a really good dude. If you get to talk to him a lot.
Yeah. He's really good. He's nice. He keeps up with everything.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Whenever you guys are ready, we could. Justin, you good over there? I say what's wrong
Yeah,
with your
I'm
mic?
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, but anyways, do you want to do the intro? Or you want me to do the intro today?
Since you this is your guy, I think you have to do it.
Yeah, good point. We usually have a rule with whoever brings the guest on, they do the intro. So
No.
Oh, that
it's
makes sense. Good.
yeah. All right. Anyways, are we all good? We all ready?
I'm Gucci.
Yep.
That sounds good. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Rossetti and Stewart Podcast. I'm here with Justin Stewart and one of our guests today. Coming to Pitt next year, Braylan Lovelace, played at Leechburg High School, graduating this year. How's your day going, Braylan?
It's going pretty well. What's yours?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, doing great. Went ice skating yesterday for the first time in a little bit, so that was pretty fun. How was your Friday night last night?
It's pretty good. I went to the Island versus Pittsburgh boxing with my family. Little union event. It was pretty cool. First time watching boxing live, so it's pretty sick.
Yeah, you enjoyed the fights and stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot
Mhm.
different than watching it on TV.
Justin, how's your weekend been?
It's been interesting. I worked yesterday. That's always fun. Just sarcasm, of course. And yeah, I mean, pretty much, Fridays I did my internship too. So I mean, that's pretty much how it is nowadays. For temporarily. So otherwise, I'm doing all right. Can't complain too much. So
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. To get into the podcast though, just as like a little bit of an icebreaker, just like how's it been like at Pitt so far, and just have you guys started anything in training or anything at Pitt for spring?
Yeah, we do. Well, we start like spring ball next week, but like since I've been there, we've done like a bunch of like winter workouts, lifting, speed, agility, and stuff like that. And then like we just started like a couple weeks ago. On Wednesday, we do like walkthrough and meetings. So we go through all the plays and stuff like that, teaching things like that. But then next week, Monday is when we start like spring ball for real.
Mhm. Are you excited for the blue and gold scrimmage?
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. It's always been I've always like tried to watch them, here and there, and be into all the different like spring practices and spring games out when I was going on visits and stuff like that. I just want to see how different it is in person. I've always thought about it, but it always seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
so
Growing
like
up
what?
in
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, Justin. You're
All
good.
right, cool.
Yeah.
So like just so far, like what's your experience been like at Pitt? Because I know I was reading, you finished high school early. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but like, what's your experience been like at Pitt so far, like beyond football?
Beyond football, I've created a lot of relationships with like a lot of people. I never thought I would ever meet. Especially coming from Leesburg, I never thought I'd meet a lot of these people. Like I've always watched them, but never thought I'd meet them. A lot of kids from my school, they always said like, "Oh, you better watch out." The freshmen coming in, things like that. The older classmen might be mean to you, but they're all really good people. They're always trying to make everybody else better. Helping me out a lot of things, but especially picking up the schemes and the playbooks and stuff like that. Really, it's just all good people there, always helping. Building a lot of relationships and things like that.
Yeah. And speaking of you going there and them telling you, you're the first Division I recruit from Leechburg to go D1 since your father and going to Rutgers. How's it feel to be the first one since your dad going to Rutgers?
Oh, really? I always say it's like an honor and a dream come true, really. Because since I was younger, I've always thought like, oh, I'm gonna be the next person to make it since my dad. And then I got a little scared a little bit back 2018 because I thought my sister was gonna do it for basketball, but luckily for me, she didn't take it, and she went D2, and then I was able to be the next person to step up. But really, I couldn't have done it without my dad. He always wanted the best for me. Was taking me to workouts and things like that. To make sure I was the best I could be. But really, it's just an honor to be able to say that I was the next person. Kind of keeping like the Lovelace legacy going on.
So would it be fair to say that he was probably like your role model? I'd assume.
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Yeah. And speaking of your sister too, she played at IUP. How was it like growing up watching her play there? How big of an influence did she have on your athletic career?
Definitely a big influence. Because when I was younger, I used to get a little bit jealous because I see her and my dad working out outside. We have this like hoop court out back there, so I get a little jealous, and then that would influence me to go out there, and try to beat her all the time, and, work out with them to better myself. So it really just helped me like with my work ethic, really. And it showed that like if you work out, you practice, keep up with the things, that you can be the best.
Yeah, and you also played basketball too, as well as your sister. How much has basketball helped you in football as well? How much does basketball help, and how does that translate to football?
Cool. Really, it helps, especially like I guess hand-eye coordination. Keeping your head up when you're dribbling, things like that. Conditioning. Basketball is a lot more running than football. I think. Mm-hmm. So it definitely keeps up with that, and then also just staying with the team. Like a lot of kids from Leesburg, they play basketball and football. Like that's the two main sports. So it always helped keep a relationship with them and things like that. I played with kids since I was about 6 years old. We always played both basketball and football. So everything that went from basketball translated over to football. It was always like a competition kind of, between the kids who just play football and the kids who just play basketball. It was always like, since we started making playoff runs, it was like, oh, I'm gonna make it farther in playoffs than you. So they kind of kept like a competitive edge going on, things like that.
So was football your first choice as far as preferred sport, or was basketball in the running too?
Actually, basketball was my favorite sport until probably my start of my football season, my junior year, and then that's when I started like really thinking football is the way to go, things like that. And yeah, that's about it. It was just like I always loved football, but I always was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the NBA, things like that. And then I started getting into like I never really watched like the NFL or the NBA, when I was younger, but then I started really watching the NFL and things like that, and I just fell in love with it, really, like the way they play. You see on Instagram and TikTok like all those edits and stuff like that, and I was like, oh yeah, I really want to be in one of those when I get older. So
I know someone who makes football edits.
Bro.
Yeah. Oh wait, give me one sec. Yeah, I know someone who makes football edits. His name's Justin Stewart.
Oh.
Okay. might have
Yeah,
to
I
look you up
mean,
then.
no, for sure. If you ever, Tony has your phone number, so if you ever like just want something made, just don't hesitate to ask. So I'll say I'll make something, yeah, for sure.
That.
So
Yeah, my I'm just I do you guys hear that phone going off on my computer at all?
no, I didn't hear that.
Okay, good, because this is my dad's work computer.
Oh,
It
okay.
started going off in the middle, so yeah, but sorry about that. It kind of distracted me, but
No,
yeah. Anyways, yeah, Justin, you can keep going. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. So like as far as the recruiting process goes, so I was looking, I saw you made like a lot of visits to Pitt. And compared to, I think you had one with Virginia Tech as well, and you had several Ivy League schools. So was Pitt always the school you wanted to go to, or were there other schools you were also interested in?
Pitt is definitely, I've always had like a top two. My dad's always been like a big Michigan fan, since he was younger, but he's also been a Pitt fan. So, those are definitely my top two schools, because every time I walked down to the basement, Michigan was always on, it was super loud. He installed this whole speaker system so it was like he was there almost. So, that Michigan was definitely one of my tops, and Pitt was definitely a top, especially since we had season tickets there. So I was always at the games, always watching, like envisioning myself in a jersey, things like that. So it was always definitely one of my tops.
Was there ever a player like when you went to Pitt games that you like you like? So who was your favorite player? Like that's what I'm trying to ask, I guess. Yeah, you have a
Of all
favorite player?
time, or like since I, started watching like the past like 2 years.
So like just like maybe do all time and maybe like since you started watching. How about that?
All time, I probably have to say either Tony Dorsett or Larry Fitzgerald. Those are always definitely my top two. But like nowadays, like when I like started really going to games, I probably had to say Servassier Dennis.
Okay.
Savate Dennis is a tank.
Yeah,
Dude, remember his pick six against Clemson last year?
yeah. That's always the play that comes to my mind. Especially when he ran up to the student section, just pointing at him. So that was pretty cool.
Did he go to that one, I'm assuming?
No, that's actually when I got my Toledo offer because I was invited to go to that game, but then like Toledo, they were texting me and stuff like that before that. So then I figured, something good might come out of this. So I went down to Toledo that day, but I kept up with it on my phone and things like that. But that's actually when I got my first offer to Toledo was that day.
It was absolutely insane. My dad and my family went. They had like fireworks and stuff, and like
Oh,
there's like 60,000 some fans. It was crazy. And then Dennis had the pick. We'll go up 21-7. Oh, it was nuts. Absolutely nuts.
yeah.
So
I do
like,
want. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, good. Yeah, I was gonna say like since you're starting to meet some of the players, you mentioned you met AJ Woods. Has anyone told you about the how they won the ACC championships and some of their memories from that and stuff like that? Have they been talking to you about that?
Yeah, most definitely. Like after our team runs and things like that, we get into the huddle. After Coach Stack's done talking, the team leaders they come up, like the seniors and stuff like that. And that was like one of the big things they would put on. Like, when they came in, it was like 7-6 season, and like they never want to go through that again. They said it was terrible and things like that. But that ACC championship year, it was a lot different. Like the competitiveness, people's work ethic, being on time, to everything. It like ramped up a lot since then. So it's always something they really preach on to. We want to get back to that and be better than that, so that we could get past ACC championship and go to the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to detour from that conversation though, but I wanted to follow up about your experience in the Clemson game. Were you able to go to the WVU game this past season?
Yeah, I was there for sure. Yep.
What was like so like my grandparents went to that too, and like I heard it was like really like something to like to see, but like what was that atmosphere like and like the vibe like for you like being at that game and knowing that like you'll be playing West Virginia this year as well?
Oh, it was crazy. That place was rocking. Like especially when they put on Sweet Caroline. Like you could like hear it echo through the city. It was like awesome. The place was going nuts. Everybody was jumping, things like that, especially when we made a big play. But it was like crazy to think about, because like I never thought I would make it there, make it to a stage like that, to think myself on the sideline, trying to like pay attention, but I don't think I could ever. It was so loud. People talking about like, yeah, you just tune them out and things like that. Like I could do that like on a high school stage, but on a stage like that, it was really loud. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. But
What was the reaction like when MJ Devonshire had the pick?
Oh, the place went crazy. All I heard was, the WVU chants went way down. The Pitt chants went way up. It was crazy.
So what, you said you were on the sideline for that?
We were like right behind the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Cal, who was on the podcast, was on the sideline for that. Cal, my long snapper for the Bengals. He was on our podcast once, and yeah, he said that he literally went from like Cincinnati and drove there just so he could watch the game, and then drove all the way back. So he said it was the craziest atmosphere he's witnessed at a Pitt game. That game.
Same here. I never thought the stands could get that packed. Like people were jam packed in there, and the streets were flooded with like Pitt fans, WU fans. I never seen the city like that before.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like Pitt Youngstown State. I can tell you that. Yeah, but anyways, speaking of Pitt and stuff, I know Justin mentioned it earlier. Has Pitt always been like your go-to team to watch? Or you mentioned your dad also watched Michigan. Are you more of a Pitt guy, or did you like Michigan growing up too?
Really, it was like equal in both. Because Pitt was like my hometown team, but that Michigan, they were always like a really, really good team. So that it was always like enjoyable watching the, especially the Michigan Ohio State game. I always got to watch that on TV every time it came on because I was always like the big game of the week, things like that. So, it was definitely equal, but I love watching both of them.
So like, oh god.
No, go ahead, you're fine.
All right. So I know we've been talking about college a lot, but are you like are you an NFL guy at all or not really?
Yeah, for sure.
So like you're a Steelers guy, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay,
How
cool.
can I not be?
Hey man, you never know. A lot of people nowadays they have their own like rooting interests. So, you have like a favorite player on the Steelers that you like watching a lot, or just any guy in the league that you like watching?
Somebody in the league would probably be Jalen Ramsey, and
okay.
on the team it'd probably be George Pickens.
Nice. I like those picks.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the Steelers this year, Kenny Pickett, 9-8. I mean, what did you think about them going on that stretch at the end of the year? I know they just missed the playoffs, but what do you think of Kenny Pickett and him as a quarterback?
I had high expectations for him coming in. Definitely thought he was going to be a ball player, which he did. He did what he had to do, especially coming in as a rookie quarterback. Now, and they started him late, but it took him a couple games to get warmed up to. But once he did, he was a really big impact to the game. It was like he always did what he had to do. He was making right reads and stuff like that. I think if they wouldn't have made the playoffs, they definitely would have had a big playoff run. They were on a winning streak, had a lot of momentum, things like that. So I think they could have beat out some teams, had a couple upsets.
Now, is there anyone like in the league or maybe college that you try to like emulate your playing style after, or not so much?
Not so much, but probably if I was like to think about it, it'd probably be Jalen Ramsey again.
Okay,
just the way like his competitiveness, things like that. Because that's how I try to play. Keep an edge at all times. Like even like in high school, if we were like blowing a team out, it's still playing like it's 0-0. We're not really blowing them out. I got to keep that same energy through the whole game.
I believe we talked about it once in like one of our interviews when I interviewed for the trip, but I do want to talk like a little bit about the Jeanette game where you had like 228. What was it? 228 yards rushing that game, or how many yards rushing? It was pretty crazy.
Remember.
Do you remember the game though?
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell me like a little bit, or let's talk about this one. 7 touchdowns versus Amani Christian. You put up. Can you just tell me a little bit about that game? Like, I know you're going as a linebacker, but just tell me a little bit about how it felt to score 7 touchdowns in one game.
Oh, really? It was crazy. I never thought I'd be able to do that. But my freshman year when we played GCC, Jake Bloomer, he scored 6. I'm pretty sure. So then I was like, oh yeah, I could break that record. I could do it. I think I could definitely do it. And then when we came into that game, we've always like played Amani pretty well, but the year before that we lost to him at their place, by we missed a field goal, we had a couple of errors, things like that. So it was kind of like a revenge tour almost, because we were blowing them out and then we gave up the lead, just like that. So it was like almost like a revenge tour to us, so we knew what we had to do coming in, things like that. And really the lineman just gave me the holes and I just hit him and I was out. Really, that's it. And then I think I was at 6 touchdowns and we were blowing them out. But then I realized, and then I asked, I was like, how many touchdowns do I got? Like, I got to be up there. And then they told me 6. I kind of feel bad for this one, but, I felt like I had to do it. But then I was like, they had the backups in, like our backups in, backup running back, things like that. I think it was Brandon Gilmer. And I just kept begging coach. I was like, please put me in. Just put me in. Just put me in. Let me score one more time. I gotta get the record. Please put me in. Please put me in. So then I finally went in, scored, and then that was it.
Hey man,
when you're that close to a record, you might as well just go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say too, like at least like your coach put you back in the game, unlike freaking Sean Payton and Alvin Kamara, dude. I don't know if you remember that game. I think it was on Christmas. He had like 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was on the field and they were like about to score and freaking Taysom Hill scored. I'm like, dude, like seriously? Like it's about to break a record. It's like, seriously, man.
Honestly. Taysom Hill, the 26-year-old rookie. It's the guy.
I mean, he's a really good player for his like what he does, but it's freaking the record, bro. That annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie though. But speaking of Taysom Hill though, that brings me up to my next question. So obviously you played running back in high school. You did play, I think, a couple other positions too. So when you committed to Pitt, did they tell you right then and there, hey, we're gonna have you at linebacker, or like is it more so just like wherever like you need to be, like wherever you want to be, pretty much position wise?
I was recruited as a linebacker everywhere I went except for West Point Army. They were the only one that wanted me to be a running back. So really, I always knew that they were going to put me in a linebacker, but I didn't know where, either inside or outside. But then when I went on to my official visit there, and the camp I went to, they had me more outside. So then that's when I knew I was going to play outside back.
Okay.
I do want to talk like a little bit about that. We were talking about it, just that Leechburg team and the 9-3 team, just that senior group with like Tommy Burke and all those great players you play with on that 9-3 team. Can you tell me like a little bit about that group and how much they probably helped you to get to the next level?
That was a very special group we had. Especially because all those kids I grew up with, things like that. Because when I was younger, playing basketball, I played up a grade all the time, so I always played with them, things like that. So we had like a big relationship going on, and I used to hang out with Tommy Burke all the time when we were younger. My dad and his dad are very close. Their family's very close since they were in high school. They've been hanging out, so we definitely had a big relationship going on there. But when he came back to Leechburg, it was always, and that's I think it's the year after. Yeah, the year Coach Walters came in, we put Tommy from wide receiver to quarterback. We were always like, yeah, we got to get this winning season. We got to do all of this. We got to do that. The senior leaders, they kept up with that. They put, everybody knew what they had to do. They make sure everybody was doing things right. The leading, that was definitely a big thing, big part of what we had done.
Yeah. And I do want to talk like a little bit about just how it felt. Like 32 years, that's pretty decent time. And you guys broke that streak. You guys made the playoffs, and then you you guys made the playoffs next year too. So, but the first time you guys made the playoffs and then getting the win against California too as well. You just tell me a little bit about you guys making the playoffs and stuff like that.
Really, we were like not almost amazed, but like because we knew we could do it, things like that. We knew we had it in us to break that record and stuff like that. But we were kind of like amazed and like relieved, like we were showing all these young kids that you could do it from Leechburg, because a lot of the young kids thought oh, our football team sucks, all that. Like even when I was growing up, I won't lie, I was like, oh yeah, football team's not that good. We just go there to hang out on Friday nights. We didn't really watch the games. But, and then finally being a part of the team, and getting close to winning season, like right like that. Like my freshman year, we went 5-5. I think my sophomore year, we were 3-4. And then my junior year, like we knew we had to do it. Like we've gotten too close too many times. We knew what had to be done. And then when we finally did it, it was like wow, like we've changed the whole history of a town like that, like we did that. And then when we played that playoff game and we finally found out it was home, I've never seen that many people in the stands before. Like the stands was packed, and then everybody was lined up on the fence watching the game. People were coming from all over the country. Leechburg graduates were coming all over from the country, to watch that game. It was just crazy, and to see, to like score or like something big happen, you look in the stands and everybody's jumping. Like I've never seen it like that before. All the years I went there, I've been there since kindergarten. I've never seen a game like that before. To think that we changed that history like that was amazing, crazy.
I do want to follow up on that though. I've heard you mention several times, like when it comes to, like maybe fans, like you like to like try not to focus on that all the time, and keep yourself locked in, and focus the task at hand though. But like don't lie though. Like when you like experienced that, like what was going through your mind?
That playoff game?
Yeah,
it was pretty hard to stay locked in.
yeah.
But like like during when coach was calling in a play or something like that, I'm like locked into the play. But then I was sitting there like waiting for the snap. I could like hear the fans and things like that, because I try to like read with my eyes, not move, like just use peripheral vision. If we're on the back end zone, like I can see the whole stands, so I see people jumping up and things like that. And then it's always hard to block out my dad's voice. Like that's always somebody I try to listen to. So trying to listen to him, it was hard because I couldn't really hear anything because everybody was screaming. It wasn't just him for once. So it was kind of hard. But then once the ball snapped, everything shut out. And then if I got tackled or I scored, something like that, then it would go right back to the fans. It was kind of like in and out of being locked in.
Yeah, and speaking of like your dad too, your mom too. Like I do want to mention that she's a teacher at Valley, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and you had over a 4 GPA and stuff, and I don't want to completely shift the conversation, but I do want to talk like a little bit about what your major's going to be and stuff, and how much your mom helped you throughout your schooling and stuff.
My major right now is marketing, but she's always been the one to push like you got to have good grades. Student before athlete, things like that. Like we have this thing at Leechburg called Power School. I think it's called. Yeah, it's called Power School, and she had my account. So then once a grade got put in, she would get a notification on her phone, and then she sent me the message like, pick it up, or like good job, or things like that. So I always knew I had to be on top of it, because I never wanted to get a bad text from her.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, and now to kind of go back, I know I'm like flopping back, but I just remember one of the questions I had. Their dream through me. Can you tell me like a little bit about like the catchphrase that Coach Randy Walters came up, and how much he meant to the team winning and stuff?
He was definitely a big impact on the way things went around Leechburg football. He changed like everything we've done. Like he's definitely more strict on what needed to be done, how to run the certain plays and things like that. But then their dream through me was really like everybody that put on the jersey and the pads and helmet, all the things, everybody that put that on before us, we're achieving their dream because they wanted to do it, but they didn't make it. So they're dreaming through us. They're playing through us. Things like that. Like if we make it, everybody makes it. If we do this, everybody does that. It's like their legacy almost is like within our jerseys and our helmets and things like that. Everybody put on the blue and white. Everybody put on Leesburg jerseys, always playing with us.
Cool. I know we're kind of going all over the place, like Tony said, though, but I am curious to your thoughts about this. So since you'll be playing linebacker this season, what are some of the challenges that are going to come with playing linebacker in your estimation?
Definitely taking on the lineman. Because I got to get past them to make a TFL. So it's definitely a big change from high school ball. All the kids I was always like one of the biggest kids on the field.
Yeah.
So now I'm going against like 6'7", 300-pound linemen. It's definitely a big change, but I've realized that I got to get my weight up. I got to work different moves and things like that. Like before, it was always just rush or run right by, but now I got to do different moves to get by. So that's definitely something big I got to work on to ready myself for spring ball coming up and season years after that.
Yeah, speaking of that too, and you mentioned like getting bigger and stuff to get by, someone 6'7", 300 pounds. What are some of the challenges though when you're bulking up, but at the same time the speed of the game's quicker too? So what are some of the challenges when you bulk up but also have to maintain your speed as well?
Really, it's just make sure you like stay on top of your agility and things like that, which we do that all the time. Every Monday we have an agility day. Even like throughout that before our list, we do a little bit of agility. So like they give me everything I need to get up to certain weights, but then also our strength and conditioning coaches, they make sure that I'm keeping, I'm getting faster while getting heavier and also keeping speed, keeping the same agility as I am while I bulk up. Things like that. And then the speed.
What? Yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep going. You're good. I thought you stopped.
Then the speed of the game. It's definitely way faster. There's so many different checks and things like that. My first walkthrough, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what was going on. Because so I'm sitting out there. Like I know what the play is, and then they just start going through all these checks, all these different calls. I'm like, what? And it took me a while to process it. You don't have time like that in college football. So while I'm sitting there trying to process it, the play's going on. It's a lot different.
I do want to like kind of like finish this like asking two questions. So like my first question, do you have any relation to Braylan Lovelace, the basketball player that played at Duquesne? I've heard about that. That's why I just want to confirm if that's true or not.
I'd have to ask my dad, because he knows everybody. But
Okay.
I honestly don't know. But if I'm gonna take a guess, I'm guessing yes. Because usually the Lovelaces around here, we're all related.
Okay, that's why I was just curious.
Yeah. I do want to ask that too. So, one of our interviews, this might be a pretty funny question, but I remember hearing you say that Dreams and Nightmares, that song like pumps you up.
Yeah.
Has there been any like is that still your go-to? Are you still going to be using that song to listen to before your games and stuff? Or are you going to pick something else like now that you're at Pitt and stuff?
Oh no, it's definitely gonna be Dreams and Nightmares. That's always a song that gets me going. And that's like now I feel like it's like a pregame thing that I have to pregame ritual I gotta do. To be out there and do what I gotta do. I feel like I gotta listen to that song before we go out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm trying to think. Like, did you say that you prayed before games too? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Like back. Yeah. How important has like your faith been too? Like and like faith with and like your family raising you that way and stuff like just to have that faith and stuff like that. How important is your faith and stuff been?
It's definitely very important. when I was younger, we always went to church and things like that, and then especially like we couldn't really make it to church as many times because, me and my sister were playing AAU basketball. And then, as you know, those were always on the weekend. And, the championships were always like Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. So we could never make it. But we always made sure, like we know that God, is pushing us forward, and putting us on the right path and things like that, especially like my aunt and my uncle and my cousins over in the Trenton Heights. They're always at church. So every time they came up for like holidays and things like that, they were always the ones that prayed before our meals, things like that. I always used to get messages from them, before games, stuff like that. Like God will push you through and things like that. After they send any text, it's always the praying hands. To know that God is there with us, pushing us forward.
That's amazing, man. God is good, man, and
Yeah.
God's a blessing to all of us and to you too. And it's great to see that someone like you just going into college already has that faith. So that's great to hear. Yeah. But anyways, I see that we have less than a minute left. I'd love to talk all day, but this is probably a good ending point for us. And I appreciate your time, Braylan. Thank you for coming on and
yes, thank you
taking
for
the time
coming
with
on.
Justin.
Oh, thank you guys. It's been great.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's Braylan Lovelace. I hope this isn't the last time you come on and stuff. We're always open if you want to come back on, maybe during the season as well. So yeah, and for those listening to us once again, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You guys have a